Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, December 2nd, 2013. If you're listening on the radio and want to watch this, go to www.catex.com. There was an air crash on Saturday in Mozambique, actually. It was in Namibia, just by the Mozambique border. 33 people were killed. It would not normally be something that would penetrate into Western consciousness, so to speak. However, the plane was an Embraer 190, a Brazilian-made plane. Embraer 190s are very popular in the United States as commuter aircraft. It's a small jet. This particular plane, in fact, was the newest plane on the Air Mozambique line. It was a plane that crashed in a heavy rainstorm shortly after takeoff from Mozambique heading to Angola. It landed just into the Namibian border. It's being investigated right now. On the scene are people from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, as well as the Mozambique and Namibian air authorities. So the black boxes have been recovered. Once there's any indication as to what the crash's cause was, we'll let you know, that's for sure, because of the prevalence of the Embraer 190. In the United States, in New York City yesterday morning, people awoke to the fact that there was a train derailment on a commuter line in New York City heading up to upstate New York. It's the Metro North line. A train derailment occurred, causing 7 trains to actually go off the track. 4 people were killed. It was along a riverside curve by the Bronx River. One train car stopped about 3 feet away from actually going into the water. The train had about 450 passengers on it. It occurred at about 7:45 in the morning. Governor Cuomo made an appearance at the train derailment site. He was there again today. Apparently the National Transportation Safety Board is there right now. They're looking at causes ranging from excessive speed as the train hit a curve there by the Bronx River, or also waiting for the toxicology reports to come in on the train's driver. The commute this morning obviously is a giant snafu heading north. Some 26,000 riders have been inconvenienced. On Friday night in Scotland, in Glasgow, there was a terrible scene. A police helicopter literally fell from the sky and landed on a pub. The pub was called the Clutha Pub, C-L-U-T-H-A. A total of 9 people have been killed, 3 people on the helicopter and 6 in the pub. Happened at about 10:25 p.m. in Scotland's largest city. It was a 36-foot helicopter, not a small helicopter. It was a police helicopter. It was a Eurocopter EC-135T2. Made by a subsidiary of EADS, the European Air and Space Defense Consortium that also makes Airbus. No causes yet have been released as to why the helicopter went down. The weather was normal. It was not raining. In Italy yesterday, 7 people died and 3 were injured when a clothing factory in an industrial zone in the Italian town of Prato burned down, killing workers trapped in an improvised dormitory. These were workers living in a warren of small cardboard sleeping compartments above the factory. Apparently, this particular area has the highest concentration of Chinese immigrants in Italy, with at least 15,000 legally registered in a total population of just under 200,000. It's thought that possibly as many as 30,000 illegal immigrants who are not registered are there. The president of the Tuscany region, Enrico Rossi, said, "This is a disgrace for all of us because we have to recognize this reality for what it is, the biggest concentration of illegal employment in northern and central Italy." Obviously reminiscent of what has been going on in Bangladesh and the textile tragedies there. The November 17th tornado outbreak across the U.S. Midwest has begun to produce some numbers. It was a preliminary count of 81 tornadoes, including 2 of the powerful EF4 strength in Illinois. According to Swiss Re now, the twisters resulted in 8 deaths and estimated total insured losses of more than $1 billion. The spate of tornadoes is expected to be the first ever $1 billion November storm loss in the U.S. and one of possibly $8 billion plus weather events in the U.S. in 2013. This, of course, is a year without a big Atlantic hurricane. Andy Castaldi, head of Cat Perils for Swiss Re, said we're starting to see more and more larger and more severe storms in Middle America that are causing bigger impacts on Middle America. Years ago, you wouldn't expect to see a tornado or hailstorm hit the billion-dollar loss mark, but those losses of this size are becoming more frequent. In Thailand, Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra has rejected the demands of anti-government protesters who are attempting to topple her regime and replace it with a so-called People's Council. She says that the demonstrations are unconstitutional. She said, anything I can do to make people happy, I'm willing to do. But as Prime Minister, what I can do must be under the Constitution. Her comments came amid fresh skirmishes between Thai security forces and opposition demonstrators. Those protests continue to mount. Police are using tear gas and water cannons to defend heavily guarded government institutions to drive back thousands of protesters. And there's also mass-scale protests in the Ukraine, in the capital of Kiev. Protesters have blocked entrances to government buildings and called for the removal of the Prime Minister and his cabinet, as anger at the president's decision to ditch a deal for closer ties with the European Union has swept the country and threatened his rule. The latest round of protests has been further fueled by supposedly brutal police action taken against protesters on Saturday. Of course, the European Union and the Ukrainians have been negotiating for many, many years on inviting the Ukraine into the EU. Everything seemed set, but at the last moment, the regime changed its mind, supposedly under pressure from Moscow, from Russian President Putin. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.